This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by
Next 1000.
There had been some claims that Free Staters had won 12 or 13 seats in the New Hampshire legislature November 2nd. However, that number is probably more like 10. Free Staters are people who moved to New Hampshire for more freedom, essentially. And to officially be one, you have to sign the letter of intent. So I'm only counting the people that signed that letter. I'm not counting liberty lovers in general. The number of liberty lovers who won in New Hampshire is huge. But I'm just counting Free Staters for now. There were 4 Free Staters in the New Hampshire House until November 2010, when 9 Free Staters, looks like I've got confirmed, 9 Free Staters winning. And it's likely that I've probably missed about 1. So I'm gonna project that the total Free Stater gains, or the total Free Stater numbers, would be 10 in the New Hampshire State House starting in 2011. That's a net gain of about roughly 130%, or you could call it a net gain of 6, roughly. It's enough to form a caucus. And it's more than twice the size of the legendary libertarian caucus that existed in the New Hampshire State House back in the 90s. Possibly the only Libertarian Party caucus to ever exist in a state house anywhere. Well, this time it's being done differently, mostly through the Republican Party. And I want to give you some play-by-play and some details on who exactly won and lost among the Free Stater community. Again, I'm not yet counting the native liberty community, which is really stronger and has much more in the way of victories to report. I'm going to try and focus. Now, later I'll report the general liberty victories. But anyway, for now, Free Stater Mark Warden out of Goffstown wins and is not only a victor, but he's the top vote getter out of 16 candidates in his district. Cal Pratt, also in Goffstown, I think, wins as well, but not by much. Cameron DeJong, believe running in Manchester, wins. He's sort of in the middle of the pack among the winners in his district. For those of you who don't understand New Hampshire districting, when you run for State House in New Hampshire, you don't run against one person for one small area. You will tend to run against 5 or 10 other people in a larger area. And, usually the top 5 vote getters, if there's 10 people running, then usually the top 5 vote getters win seats, that kind of thing. Yeah, but the numbers vary from district to district. In Grafton, Free Stater Bob Hull loses. However, it also looks like the Free Stater's nemesis in Grafton has also lost, Catherine Mulholland. It would be, if she loses, she's just looking like she's going to lose, but if she does lose, then that will be the second seat, the second government position that she's been knocked out of, and she tends to blame Free Staters for that. She's an authoritarian Democrat originally from England. There are, by the way, some Free Staters from England, too. Joel Winters, Free Stater Democrat in Manchester, loses barely by 33 votes. Which means that all the Free Stater seats held in the State House in New Hampshire are now Republican. Republican Free Staters. Though it's not for lack of trying, at least 5, I don't know, maybe 10 Free Staters over the years have run for State House on the Democrat side. Joel was the only one that ever got in as a Democrat. Keith Murphy out of Bedford, last place among the winners, but still won with a very comfortable margin. Greg Serby in Nashua, Free Stater running as a Republican, loses by 1%, or about 70 votes. John Maltz in Hudson wins with a comfortable margin. He is, however, last place among the 13 winners in that district. Wow, that district must have had like 20 people running. Jen Coffey, I think she's in Andover, Free Stater, top vote getter in her 12-man race. Seth Cohn, running in the same district, also wins easily. I don't know if it was an easy win, but it was a comfy margin. Carol McGuire, top vote getter in her 6-man race in Epsom, I believe. Her husband, Dan, also wins with a comfortable margin. But he is last place among the winners. Andrew Manus wins in, I think, Derry? He was the top vote getter in his primary, but that was not the case in the general election. Still, he won with a comfortable margin. And yes, wouldn't you know it, there was, in fact, one Free Stater who I missed when I counted up to 9, and so that does make it 10. And the one I missed initially was Bruce McMahon. He's in Brentwood and had an unusual type of race in that it was this sort of a one-on-one race. And he got 56% of the vote to 44% of the vote for the Democrat. Again, all these Free Stater winners were Republicans. The only Free Stater candidate to be running in the general election as a Democrat was Joel Winters, and unfortunately he lost. Now, as I say, there were a ton of pro-liberty victories among people who are not technically Free Staters, but I did want to just focus on something that I could easily focus on first, and then later we'll worry about the bigger picture. If you look at the video description for this clip, I think you can. I'll probably try and link to the video where I made my predictions back about 2 months ago as to what the numbers would be, and you can start checking to see how my predictions match up against the actual numbers that came out tonight. I think by and large you're going to find that most of my predictions were overly pessimistic, and that Free Staters and liberty-related candidates have done better than expected. Slightly better.
Are you planning on moving to New Hampshire for more freedom? Do you think you can make it here by autumn 2011? If so, or if maybe, drop by pledgebank.com/next1000. That's where folks are making the promise they'll be here soon. Hover your virtual pen indecisively over the sign-up button. Then press it.
In remembrance of lost liberties.
Tell the world that one more person has had enough and is joining arms with the hundreds upon hundreds who have already fled the nanny states and settled here as freedom activists. Don't delay. Time is running out to make the pledge. Next 1000.